Sydney FC are looking to close the gap at the top of the table when they meet their crosstown rivals, the Western Sydney Wanderers. And with the season more than half over, every point is crucial. This is the Harbour City Derby, W-League style. Hello, I'm Stephanie Browns. Welcome to Denser Park, where it is very warm indeed. Now, the local rivalry between these two sides might still be a young one, but bragging rights are very much sought after. Sydney FC might start this one on paper as hot favourites, but, well, the Wanderers will be hoping for a repeat of the form that saw them beat the Brisbane Roar just a fortnight ago. And if yesterday's results are anything to go by, it might be a weekend for upsets. Look at that. Perth Glory's undefeated run has come to an end at the hands of Adelaide United. And to think the Lady Reds went the first 5 rounds without tasting victory, this one would have been very sweet indeed. Elsewhere, the Jets piled more misery on Brisbane Roar, and Melbourne Victory were held scoreless by Canberra. Ashley Sykes' first half goal enough to give the ladies in green all 3 points in front of a record W-League crowd. So despite that defeat, Perth are still 5 points clear of Sydney FC, who have today's game in hand for now. The Jets and Canberra are chasing hard on 12 apiece, Victory 1 point behind them, while Adelaide's 2 wins sees them move to 6, 2 points ahead of Brisbane, with the Wanderers just 1 adrift. So at this point, Sarah Walsh, there look to be 5 teams in contention for those 4 final spots, but based on yesterday's results, anything could still happen.
Anything could happen. We've seen that throughout this season, but yesterday with Adelaide beating Perth Glory, no one would have predicted that. Look, I guess you could say Wanderers have been building towards something, been unlucky in a few games. They're really up for this match. It'll be interesting to see how it pans out, and it's a derby, so really we've seen in the men's game how much the team's boost. It doesn't matter where they're on the ladder. I think they're up for this match today. Yeah,
it is going to be huge. Sydney FC, of course, lost their coach Alan Stajic to the national team a couple of weeks ago, but he left them in good shape, though Dan Barrett has had to make a few changes today.
He has made a few changes, and it's actually strengthened the side, in my opinion. Rollison comes into holding midfield for Teresa Plias, who's out injured at the moment, but Clifford comes in as a central defender. Look, it's a really strong side. Uzenla's been pushed up high. She'll love that position. It's a really exciting team. Spencer's in form. Going to be a great game.
Yeah, Jasmine Spencer's certainly been in form for the Sky Blues since her arrival. Peter Wilkins caught up with her a little earlier to ask how the side will adapt to this week's changes.
I don't think our plans changed pretty much. We have a lot of depth on our bench, so we just made a couple of little switches, and we're going to come out the same way we've been all season.
And the last time you played this team, you scored a couple of goals and won 2-0. The wounded opponent, though, they haven't been going that well. Anything to fear there?
Yeah, of course, and especially in this league, every game is competitive and it's a derby day, so they're definitely going to come and bring us their A game. So we can't really underestimate them at all. They picked off a good opponent in Brisbane, so we're going to have to come out and give it our all.
Well, the Wanderers have had a tougher path this season, Walshy. Keelan Winters continues really to be the linchpin here, doesn't she?
She is, and her having a big game today will be key to this Wanderers side succeeding. And look, they've kind of had real lapse of concentration throughout matches, which have really let them down. They've conceded goals in set plays. They really need to tidy up that area of their match today.
Yeah, absolutely. Wilco also spoke to Michelle Carney a short time ago, and he asked her if the focus today was to tighten up the leaks at the back.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Our key is just to keep focused for 90 minutes. We do show good spells, but we need to just focus for that 90 minutes. And we've had a great training week. The intensity has been good, so hopefully we can go out there and get the result.
Now, are you meeting Sydney at a good time? If there is a good time, they've got a couple of injuries.
Oh, obviously, they've got some great depth in the team, so it's going to be a hard game, but we're up for it. And as I say, the girls are pumped and firing to go.
Well, let's get Derby Day underway and head up to commentary, where Sarah Walsh will join Peter Wilkins for kickoff.
A very good afternoon and welcome to the Derby. Sydney FC versus the Western Sydney Wanderers on a weekend of upsets. Is that going to continue at the Sydney United Sports Centre under the watchful eye of the referee today, Rachel Mitchinson, and her cast on this synthetic turf, which will be soaking up the rays. But there is a breeze. Whether it's going to cool down the players enough to see a high-quality game for the 90 minutes remains to be seen. Certainly, it is Sydney FC with all to play for. They can really sneak up the table, as Steph had mentioned, with Perth being beaten. We're going to have highlights of those matches at halftime. What a weekend of upsets in the W League. So Sydney FC surrendering possession immediately, and the Western Sydney Wanderers try to conjure up a chance. And there's a familiar face in goals. Sean McLaren, the well-travelled Sean McLaren, called into the fray after the injury to Casey Dumont, the unfortunate injury. A lacerated liver after a collision last week, and she's going to be out for perhaps up to 6 weeks, which is not good for the Sydney FC's qualifying for the finals and potentially the grand final, and B, her World Cup chances. But it just continues the run of outs for goalkeeper Sarah Walsh. A glorious day. A little bit of breeze around though, and it's going to be ball on the deck, you'd think.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be a very quick pitch, given that it's turf. It's very hot underfoot as well, and I think that might favour Sydney with the speed that they have up top. So Wanderers will definitely have to be alert to that speed that they have, and especially balls in behind.
Oh, it's a dancing Alicia Clifford wondrous play. Twinkle toes and setting her team alight. The ball is lost by Natalie Tobin. And Savette Uzenla playing an unfamiliar role today too, and the number 6, but she is captain, playing a lot more forward, so it'll be interesting to see how the restructure works today as Rachel Suter takes it downfield for the Western Sydney team. They've hemorrhaged goals this year. They've conceded 27. Can they score another one? This is delightful with Carney. The dummies, and now a clear shot, and it goes wide. Gee, Caitlin Jarvie, it sat up for her. She had plenty of time to measure it and spooned it wide.
I think this is fair to say that this is Jarvie's first touch of the season. She's been out with an arthroscope, and look, a little bit of first game jitters there. Really could have put her head down and kept that ball down. But it's great to see her on the park, as she has been out since, I guess, the start of the season, and she'd be really good for Keelan Winters to be able to support her in the midfield, and we'll see her push forward and Keelan play that roving role in the midfield.
Yes, 27 goals conceded so far, though they do have that one win over the Brisbane Roar, whose season seems to be going from bad to worse. Just the one win. Would you have imagined that at the start of the year? Brisbane, the perennial semi-finalists, grand finalists, they've won it a couple of times, and this year they're now a remote chance as Harrison streams downfield unattended and looking to get a ricochet to carry on with her work. But Sydney are going to get the throw in just outside that range of potency.
This as you just mentioned, with Brisbane, it's just been the most unpredictable season to date. It's quite exciting, especially with Adelaide's huge upset win over Perth Glory yesterday. And it's really good to see, especially Christy Moore scoring goals again.
Now Harrison goes all the way. No, it was taken out for a corner, so it is a corner. And the first for Sydney today, Sydney FC, at this rescheduled fixture. It was due to be played at Kogarah. A little work happening there, so they had to reposition this game. And Sydney, well, we're talking about Brisbane. That was our last trip here. Brisbane were hammered by Sydney on this venue, so they do like it. Ball to the near post, and Jarvie found it on her thighs, and they managed to get away with that, the Western Sydney team. So Stephanie Brantz is in the shade today. That breeze, is it cooling it down a little bit, Steph?
It's not too bad. It's changing direction quite rapidly, though, which is going to make it difficult for the players to judge and to use it. At present, it's going from left to right on your screen, and, well, judging by how long the Wanderers have managed to keep possession, it's not actually aiding Sydney FC at all. But it is about 34 degrees still down here, so the breeze is very welcome indeed.
They are going to be having a couple of breaks today to take on some hydration. We've seen that in operation over the last few seasons, as now Western Sydney get a chance to break through Helen Patinos and through the centre, Keelan Winters. She's integral to their hopes today. Neat dummy coming from Patinos and then out to Jarvie with the distinctive hairstyle. Has it sight on goal the second time in the space of about 4 or 5 minutes, but puts that one wide, unfortunately. Caitlin Jarvie, nearly 23 years of age, got a birthday coming up on the 3rd of November, and yeah, just bobbled up as she hit it.
Already really good signs though from Wanderers. They're really, I guess, attacking attacking their defence, and it was really good to see that she's taken that inside and then had the shot. I think in previous matches they really just failed to have their shots on goal. So once while they're getting those away, they're building their confidence as well.
Mind you, when we're talking about goal-scoring prowess or the Western Sydney team conceding them, Sydney have only managed to score 8 goals so far this year, as now it is the Western Sydney team streaming forward. The ball attempted to be cut back, but unfortunately no possibility there. Norm Boardman, a couple of new coaches in place, Daniel Barrett and Norm Boardman. Daniel more recently after the ascension of Alan Stajic to the Matildas coaching role. No doubt he's keeping an eye on proceedings.
I think you actually just seen him in the crowd.
Yes, I can tell you guys that he's definitely here. He's keeping an eagle eye on as many games as he can, and no doubt racking up the frequent fly points in the process.
Chloe Lagazzo, a chance to operate for the full 90 minutes today, which hasn't always been the case over the last few seasons, but she's a young lady with incredible talent and good footwork. Robbed and taken away well by Linda O'Neill, a former Sydney FC player, and you probably played alongside Linda O'Neill. I think Sarah Walsh scored a goal in the semi-final and scored a goal in a grand final.
She's just that player. I actually played with her for Sydney FC and the Wanderers, and yeah, she scored some pretty crucial goals for both teams, so it's exciting to see her out. She's playing in the midfield in a holding position today with Keelan Winters,
The ball, dangerous nod back. Jarvie chases, and it's just played into safety by Sam Johnson. Of Johnsons from the US, Sam Johnson and Kendall Johnson is playing in the number 7 for the Western Sydney team from the University of Portland, and the Sky Blue Colorado Rush now. Big chance over the top. My goodness me, Helen Patinos can only ruefully grab the cheeks and look to the heavens.
It was a really great build-up with a really, beautiful, gorgeous ball in behind the defence, and great little run from Helen Patinos. Just couldn't finish it off. It was on her left foot, but really, really promising build-up from Western Sydney Wanderers.
Yes, Hannah Beard with the delightful touch. But unfortunately for the Western Sydney team, Helen Patinos spooning it over. Frustration for Norm Boardman, but promising signs nonetheless. Are they right for the plucking today? Sydney FC, Rollison playing a little bit high today. Remember, she scored that remarkable double against Brisbane up at QAS in the early part of the season.
We'll see. Probably the 2 key players for me today is Renee Rollison on the ball now. She's playing in that holding midfield role, and if she's able to dictate play in the midfield today, Sydney win. And conversely, if Keelan Winters gets enough ball and really can dictate play from that holding midfield position, she could really put her team in a good position.
Nicola Bolger, it's for a power of work during the game. Jasmine Spencer, the diminutive striker, has a great strike rate so far this year. The visitor from the US, 5 from 6 games, and nearly got there.
Yeah, she almost got there, just couldn't really get, over the ball.
Jasmine Spencer and the Sydney FC coach Daniel Barrett thrust into the fray.
It's really a good sign of a great team, the fact that they can move players around so much with Teresa Pliers coming out and as I already mentioned, Renee Rollison playing in that holding mid role. I think she's stronger there for Sydney FC, and especially if she can get a lot of ball. I think Clifford and Johnson in the back line, they'll do fine.
Wonderful tackle from Renee Rollison. Good footwork from Sydney FC. Back now to Bolger trying to chip it forward. Rollison might have another bite, lays it back, but there's an offside call against Rollison just when Natalie Tobin was about to tee it up. She's back into the side as well. Rested last week. They've got a big run, the youngsters coming ahead of them. And she's one with the delightful touches. And that's pretty good from Savet Uzenla. Forward to Spencer. A good, solid challenge by Seaman. And Western Sydney, that would be of prime importance today to try and restrict Sydney in the goal-scoring department. keep it tight, keep their shape at the back, and then on the transition look as good as they have in the first couple of forays forward.
Absolutely, and it's not dissimilar to what we've seen against, from the male Wanderers team last night. They really held their structure, outplayed. I think they had 30% overall by the end of the match, but really held their structure and really took their chance when it came. And I believe they didn't actually have too many more chances. I think they had 2 chances and scored 1. And I think that's exactly the game plan Wanderers will need to take into this match. It'll be very important that they keep their structure and shape for the 90 minutes.
Yes, both chances fell to the same man, the man who scored, Tommy Urich, coming on. Having another shortly after, but the 1-0 win, the Western Sydney Wanderers will take into Riyadh next weekend, early hours of Sunday morning. That's going to be a headline act. Hopefully they can put it together, hold their shape again. But you can imagine Al Hilal coming at them ferociously throughout that contest next week with the 65,000 fans.
But really, how exciting for everybody that watched last night. The crowd was amazing, and can't really see too many of the RBB fans here today. I think they'll be resting some pretty sore heads.
Having said that, though, there's a nice contingent of Sydney fans here, and they're very vocal, which is great. It's good to see a decent number of people out here supporting the W League because, of course, we had a new record crowd yesterday ahead of the Melbourne Derby.
Well, that was well robbed by Kendall Johnson sneaking in.
Exactly right, Steph. I think it was 14,000 at the Melbourne Victory Canberra match. It's so exciting. I think that actually blew out of the water the previous record.
Now, Lagazzo, this is the first touch, let it down a little bit. And that was set by this team not too long ago. Well, these teams, 3,000 earlier this season. And that was trumped, well and truly trumped for the regular season club game. As we watch now, Clifford trying to hoist it in, and Uzenla, good first touch too, burrowing away, back to Bulger, lays it off beautifully now, Lagazzo! And she doesn't get a second bite, so the defence does hold firm. Johnson, Caitlin Cooper, the veteran, the seaman. It's going to be pressure there, Rachel Suter. Plenty of pressure on the back today. It's a powerful throw. Michelle only trying to get the better of it. And Spencer back inside, looking for Bulger, pressuring. Winters loses out, but then regains composure. Cleland Winters. And you can see the ball bouncing and blowing considerably on the synthetic turf. Spencer, very congested. And a throw into Western Sydney Wanderers. No score on the board, 13 minutes of play gone. And a positive first 13 for the Western Sydney team, with the better of the chances so far. Patinos, wide open country to the right side, and they go that way. Neatly laid off by Beard. It's numbers back for Sydney FC, and now they've got a few languishing, and Sydney might go all the way. She likes a shot from range, D'Souza-La, and can't tuck it through. Johnson with the interception. Lagazzo was lingering tantalisingly on the right side.
Well, Sydney FC had the numbers there. Western Sydney Wanderers were really lucky that that ball was cut out because they were on now, 2 extra players.
Beard again in open country and tries to stride out. Amy Harrison matches her, lays it back. Oh, this is promising. Winters walked out. It must be a penalty. It is. It's a penalty. Winters surging into the area. Norm Boardman out of the chair. Western Sydney with a chance to strike first. It was a beautiful ball and a wonderful incursion from Keelan Winters into the box, and she received her just desserts.
Oh, please, look at this first touch from Keelan Winters here. Really just took it out. I'm not exactly sure which defender it was, but that first touch there right in front of Tegan Allen, and the only thing that Tegan Allen could do there is take down the player, and that was a gorgeous little touch. Beautiful ball in, and now put themselves in a really good position to go 1-0 up.
Winters scored a couple of goals earlier this season. She moves in, and makes no mistake. Sean McLaren just slightly went the wrong way. So Western Sydney have the lead against Sydney FC. Winters converting in the 15th minute.
So composed on the ball, and as you can see, just cool as you like. Bottom right-hand corner. Just opens up a body, and here we see 1-0 up. We've seen Western Sydney Wanderers in previous matches go up. They really need to stay composed and keep a level head. We all know what Sydney FC are capable of.
So Winters their third goal in the W League after the 2 at Campbelltown and the 3-5 defeat by Melbourne victory. And Sydney with the work to do. Tegan Allen forced into fouling country there. She does well. Full pirouette and now a little drag back. It was excellent persistence. And Stephanie Bratz, that would have been well received on the bench and by the sprinkling of Western Sydney fans here today.
Absolutely. It got everyone off their seats on the Wanderers bench, and you could hear the fans fire up after that. Perhaps they weren't expecting to go ahead, and, well, they're certainly very excited now, and they've had heaps of possession, so who knows what's going to happen here.
Caitlin Jarvie, just that elusive first touch. Now Suter tucking it forward to Beard, checking inside. Harrison wins out. They're operating a little bit of a clump, though, Sydney FC. Jasmine Spencer all alone, and she might want to show too much ball to Spencer. Caitlin Cooper, and there's a little bit of a foul. Free kick going to the Western Sydney team.
Great work there from Caitlin Cooper. Definitely keeping her body in between herself and, the ball and her attacker.
Now Winters retreating to do a bit of work in that department as well. So this is engaging for the rest of the contest today. Sydney FC obviously missing the work rate of Teresa Polias, who remains out with a hamstring strain. And she's been a warrior too, matching motors for many a season with Renee Rollison in games played. Rollison now up to her 77th W League game, and she's being forced to do a little bit more work in that forward role today. Is that going to tell? Rollison up to Johnson, and on it goes. Sydney just hemmed inside their own half. Optimistic ball forward, and finds the mark in Bolger. Spencer weaving, recovers a balance well, but numbers beat her. Caitlin Jarvie, Beard, Carney was available, and now she's not. So slow motion at the moment. Keelan Winters, she has numbers. Patinos, good first touch, and now we'll look up. Threads it through. O'Neill crowding each other. Beard tries the strike from long range. Oh dear. It's the sort you want to just feather off the foot, not give your striker chasing through an opportunity. Sean McLaren will leave Adelaide and further to the west, and she's played with Sydney before too. Called back into the fray.
Renee Rollison there beating basically the entire Western Sydney Wanderers midfield with one pass of the ball to Spencer. Spencer holds that up, and really they're on the attack there.
Well, now they go again, Sydney FC. Oh, Spencer again tracking a good line right up the centre. Western Sydney holding firm. Keelan Winters, though, loses out now. Ursula from long range. Oh, good strike too. The full weight of the right boot was behind that ball.
That's the Uzenla we've come to know and love. That's a great shot from out, and really dipping towards the end there. Very dangerous ball to save for the keeper.
Trudy Burke doing very well. It hasn't been a grand season, though she wasn't in goals on the horror story day. The 10-1 defeat. I think we probably whisper today, do we? It's one of those results you just like to consign to the basement.
Well, I think the most important thing for the Wanderers is their response the following week. They beat Brisbane Roar up in Brisbane 2-1, and I was told by once from I guess Tom Samani told me that there's a huge difference between 6-0 and 10-0, and obviously 10-1 in this case, but it's really just to do with what's in between the ears. And I think they really just dropped their bundle after that and given up, and I think that's mostly what upset Norm Boardman.
And Western Sydney have played the Sydney FC 5 times in the W League and have been beaten 5 times, but the matches for the most part haven't been blowouts, just 1 or 2 goals in it. And hopefully, well, by the look of it, that's going to be the way today. Sydney currently poised with only the 8 goals, as I mentioned, 5 of those coming from Jasmine Spencer. So the loss of the strike power this year has been fairly critical to Sydney FC as a potent weapon. But Perth have opened the door after being beaten overnight for Sydney to draw within a couple of points should they manage the win today. But now they're behind and they've got to show some character.
This point in the game, they're kind of making things a little bit difficult for themselves, just not playing the simple passes. And as we're seeing there, Tegan Allen taking the ball to a right when she had a simple option inside. They did lose. They had their first loss to Perth last week, and I imagine that would upset the apple cart a little bit, and frustration can come into play.
Now the first of the drinks breaks at the 21.5-minute mark of the first half. And the temperature, Stephanie Brant's down on the edge. Has it risen or is it stabilised? Has it dropped? What's it doing?
It's dropped a couple of degrees, Wilco. It's probably hovering in the early 30s, maybe 32 degrees. And that breeze, as I mentioned before, is really quite refreshing. It doesn't feel anywhere near as hot as it did when we arrived. And while she mentioned before that the synthetic turf obviously makes it feel very hot out there, so the players will certainly be grateful for this break.
Well, this is the goal, and Hannah Beard with a neat ball through. That touch was perfect. Tegan Allen was all over her like the proverbial cheap suit, and gave away the penalty. There's the shot again. Clearly that was just a beautiful touch on, and Allen infringing, and just a couple of paces, foxing the keeper, scoring the goal, and putting Western Sydney ahead. So they've deposited the drinks. That's the quickest drinks break on record. And they're going to be ready for action again.
She's such an exciting player, Keelan Winters. She's playing higher up the park, which is a little bit unfamiliar for her. But as we can see, they're reaping the rewards of that now with Linda O'Neill holding.
Yes, her dad Brian was an NBA player with the LA Lakers and the Milwaukee Bucks, and then a coach of some note as well. And so there are plenty of sporting pedigree in the family of Keelan Winters. Now, Sydney with just the high figure of Jasmine Spencer putting some pressure on, and she does so pretty well. Concedes the throw, but she's calling her teammates to bridge that gap. Come forward, come with me. Johnson squares it up. Anisha Clifford, good to see her back in the fray. Another good ball forward. Caitlin Jarvie, neat play, and releases a wonderful ball to Patinos. Carney's at the far post in the centre. She cuts it back behind. Linda O'Neill was queuing up. That was a little bit unfortunate. The build-up play was exceptional. It's the last pass cost them. And that's well grabbed by Tobin, and she advances, loses out too. So it does skip off this artificial turf. Perhaps some of the players not entirely used to the pace of the delivery coming to them or how it comes off the foot.
That's the dangerous element of, I guess, Sydney FC's game. They've really just beaten the Western Sydney Wanderers midfield with one smooth pass there out to Natalie Tobin, and she's found herself in a good position. It's really dangerous. Western Sydney Wanderers need to be, I guess, mindful of that when they do transition into attack, to make sure that they transition in defence as well.
And Kendall Johnson brought down in rather ungainly fashion. A 23-year-old out of the Women's World Cup in the under-20 in Germany 2010. And another player of good quality coming to the W League. Great to see the US contingent out here plying the trade and lifting the standard of the competition. Oh, she goes and receives. Sean McLaren. That's a good confidence booster. Some mightn't have been all that help. Now, Beard. McCartney waiting for a good delivery. She's hovering on the edge of the 6-yard box. And that was good keeping too, just guarding the near post. McCartney sweating on the ball just inside the 6-yard box.
Oh, Hannah Beard here really done really well to get past Savedos and Lauren. Really should have cut that back. Keelan Winters was, I guess she'd recycled a run and really cut back and was asking for that to be cut back, and should have done better with their final execution.
Now, here's a chase. 3 back for Western Sydney. They're pretty casual on it. Harrison, Jasmine Spencer singing for it. It goes to Spencer. Oh, tries. She had a bit of room and gives away the free kick. Just that touch. You could see the mind working. She just wanted to release it, dance after it, and get a shot on goal. But the defence awake. Linda O'Neill brought down.
They held strong there, but they were very lucky because if Spencer gets this ball out to the right, there were 2 players to Western Sydney's 1.
It was just that second to, well, it bounced off a knee. It was unfortunate. The first touch was pretty good, but the knee got in the way. The leg, 26 and a half gone. Western Sydney 1, Sydney 0. Could it be the big double?
You have Alicia Clifford down in the back play.
Had a drinks break. Now they get another unscheduled one. And Liz Ralston, and for one so young, plenty of experience, should be ready to fulfill a role. As Clifford is coming to the edge of the field. And we'll get a report from Steph Brantz at some point. Is that the air of resignation, or is she just going to get a little bit of strapping or taping?
The sub list has come in. I think there's going to be a sub here, Steph.
It looks like Liz Ralston is going to come off. Alicia Clifford has sat down. I'll get further news on that for you.
Now Carney trying to get the better of Johnson. A little bit of push and shove. And Carney nipping away. Allen back in support. And the throw-in is going to go again. So the replacement is made. And that's unfortunate for Alicia Clifford.
Just going straight down to the tunnels.
Another stalwart of the W League with over 50 appearances. And that's a term that's going to be penalised. Nicola Bolger brought down. Sydney not hitting top gear yet. And forced to throw the ball forward. Jasmine Spencer brought down on the edge of the area. It's going to be a free kick in range. She tried to release. It was the long ball that undid Western Sydney. And they were forced into foul country as well. The yellow card comes out. And Jasmine Spencer brought down. So is this tailor-made for Renee Rollison to stand up again?
It was a glorious ball over the top, and Spencer's found herself, or made an excellent run and found herself in between the 2 central defenders and then just pushed in the back. There wasn't too much more Kendall Johnson could do. Found herself in, I guess, in the wrong side, on the wrong side of the player there, and had to foul. And as you mentioned, Wilco, this is a dangerous sign for Western Sydney Wanderers with Renee Rollison on the edge of the box.
Renee Rollison scored a superb strike against Brisbane as she got another one in her. She moves in. Rollison hits it well, but wide. Several metres in the end. But it was a good strike nonetheless. Trying to curl it around the wall, bringing Daniel Barrett off the seat. Yeah, well wide.
Yeah, not too, I guess, too much to worry about there for Trudy Burke. But I imagine Norm Boardman wouldn't be happy with the defence for that period of play. They really need to drop earlier, and especially with Spencer's speed. Oh, and the darting little run in behind was excellent.
He succeeds in taking it over the edge. And Western Sydney, if you'd asked them at the start of the day, would they be satisfied with this position? It would have been a resounding yes. 1-0 up. Over a team they've never beaten. And, that's a loose bit of defence. Bulger, plenty of time to line it up, but that's neither a pass nor a shot, really. And the player is down injured. Andrew O'Neill.
Good to see here. Just a bit of a corky on a right quad hip.
I'm not sure where the contact was. Probably was with the ground. That was where the pain came from, because the little back flick from Jasmine Spencer didn't hit the mark fortuitously. And Sydney playing very, very high. They're tucked up just inside the halfway line in defence. So obviously they feel as though that not too much pace going forward. And they've been caught out once. Allen. Mollison. Back to Ralston.
They might not have the pace, Wilco, but Michelle Carney has definitely been in form, and she's probably one of the smarter, given that she has so many years of experience. She just really knows where to make her runs and sit in between the defence. She's a very smart player, and she's not one that you want to leave open. And I guess her ability to be able to make those runs, she makes up for her speed.
Absolutely.
Lack of speed, sorry.
Yes, well, she has scored a couple of times this year.
I believe she scored one against Newcastle last week, and it was a back pass to the keeper, and really she creates her own like Michelle Carney, and was in the right time, right place.
Free kick going the way of Western Sydney. Jarvie, open space. She ignored Johnson, and Jarvie now tries to chip it forward. Seaman does well in the end. Made it look hard. Johnson, I think she can get the better of Lagazo. Patinos loses out. Rollison in turn. Patinos comes again. Good play. As was the sliding effort from Tegan Allen. Johnson, long throw into Carney. Ralston staying with her and giving away the corner kick. And Western Sydney now coming up to the 33-minute mark of this derby. Can they strike again? St Perth beaten, Brisbane hammered, Canberra beating Melbourne. Highlights of those matches at half-time. Patinos sizing it up. O'Neill running to the far post. It's a near post ball. It almost sneaks through to Caitlin Cooper. Lagazo now. Suter infringing and giving away the free kick. And now it goes the other way. Well, that was the 50-50 ball, but the back end of it looked as though it was Suter who was.
Well, you'll find here Chloe Lagazo, hands on the back here.
Yes. Yeah. Well, in the end, pretty solid decision, probably. Lagazo frustrated. And Sydney on the top of the foul count. Cooper's up. So too Seaman. Carney wants it. McCarney is not going to get there. Nor is Caitlin Cooper harmlessly away. And the rueful look from Norm Boardman.
He knows this game is far from won. They were up against Newcastle 1-0 up last week and went into the sheds at half-time 1-1 and lost the game 4-1. So it's a 90-minute performance he requires from his team today.
Now, some pressure on Johnson at the back. Trudy Burke hoisted out of play. A Sydney throw. 10 to go before the break. Quickly there is Tegan Allen to Lagazo. And the touch straight to Linda O'Neill. She says, thanks very much. Angles the ball forward. Carney trying to burst free. Ralston sews it up. Just not a lot of fluency going forward through the middle from Sydney FC with the new combination. Probably still finding their feet, although they, in saying that, do have Nicola Bolger, who's been a mainstay the last couple of years in that midfield role.
I think it's a matter of Western Sydney Wanderers holding their shape very well. They've been extremely disciplined and I guess done everything that's required and been asked of them from Norm Boardman. And I think we haven't actually seen Sydney FC get into second, third gear at the moment. And when they do, as we see here, Nicola Bolger, especially, and Natalie Tobin can do a lot of damage.
Well, slews off the outside of the boots of Jess Seaman and another throw-in. So they have a little bit of territory continuity. Sydney FC, have they got anything on the end of it? Uzenla waits at the far post. Yasmin Spencer's in tight. And throw in a harmless effort. Carney putting some pressure on Jarvie. She responds. And coolly from Johnson. All the time in the world, Sam Johnson, so it seems. Kashan McLaren, who takes over from Alyssa Harris, who is going to be growing in stature as the years progress, but they've probably gone for a little bit more experience today, and rather than the youngster. Here's Chloe Lagazo. Alan Bolger with the touch. Easy pickings for Cooper. Beard now, pressured by Harrison coming forward, and Uzenla. Harrison's wide out on the left at the moment, so Uzenla retreating. Johnson, that eludes all of them. Uzenla. Rollison, plenty of time, but few options. Uzenla again. And you can see Keelan Winters in the centre of the Western Sydney midfield, just marshalling the troops behind her, just telling them to hold their shape. Well, this neat, straight through the centre. Harrison, can she get the shot on goal? Stoic defence from Caitlin Cooper. She held her ground, eye on the ball. Nicola Bolger down injured. 8 to go before half-time.
It was a great little run in from Amy Harrison there, and almost made it through the line of defence and would have been on goal. Get to see on the replay here. Nice little 1-2 here, and then takes it inside in and attacks the space here. Almost made it through.
Here's a fine surge.
It has been difficult for Sydney FC. Western Sydney Wanderers defending really with 10 players. Michelle Carney being kept up high to stretch the field. And that really makes it difficult to be able to penetrate through for Sydney FC.
A little bit of pressure on Trudy Burke forces her to pump it out of play. And Sydney trying to weave a way through. Jarvie heads away. It's both sides struggling for possession. Oh, that's a wonderful turn from Spencer. She was impeded, calls for the free kick and wins that decision, and a yellow card too. Seaman forced to go for the grab.
This is something that she does beautifully, Spencer, turning inside on her right foot here, and she does it so well, and pulled back there on the shirt from Jessica Seaman. She's such a great player, Spencer. She's so versatile. She's not only quick in tight spaces, her touches on the ball are second to none.
Now, this is definitely the favoured side for Renee Rollison. Amy Harrison is her support cast at the moment, but she loves the big bend right to left. Renee Rollison, she's got a good sight. Trudy Burke knows exactly where it's going. Harrison with the step over. Rollison shoots straight at the keeper. No trouble at all.
She's managed to actually clear the wall here and just straight to the keeper. Not too difficult for Trudy Burke there.
Just an update for you guys on Alicia Clifford, who we saw going off earlier. She's been seen by the doctor and apparently affected by the heat, so she's recovering in the shade now.
Well, Jarvie, a good burst, and now a real chance developing. Johnson on the left, they queue up. Michelle Carney, what are the early balls? She goes, oh no. It just had to come in straight away. She was in a wonderful position on the edge of the 6-yard box. Look at her make the run. It just had to be a one-time ball straight in there. Admittedly, Tegan Allen or Liz Ralston had made some ground back.
Western Sydney Wanderers, their transition game has been better than Sydney FC's. They really found the space there and they attacked in numbers. You see Kendall Johnson making that run up left, but it's a matter of those midfielders getting the ball out there quickly.
Promising signs for Western Sydney. Now Patinos with the corner. It's a tantaliser, punched away. Well, it was a pretty good effort in the end from McLaren. And now Harrison streams forward, trying to find Lagazzo. And secure at the back. Johnson. Now Spencer. Snipes away. Room in front. Lagazzo's there. Spencer might go all the way, looking for the shot. It runs away from her. And she lays it back into the path of Western Sydney, and they escape. But Sydney have some numbers back, so it's about a 3-on-5 at the moment. Jarvie, not a bad idea. Couldn't find the pass to Patinos, and the game opening out. A reluctance to chase the ball. Is it going to be an impossible dream? She might just pull this in, Harrison. Oh, she does well. That was a good effort. It was on the breeze too. And now she plays it in. Oh, Lagazzo. And Bolger couldn't get it strike. And high and wide from Rollison in the end. Well, that was almost comical because Amy Harrison saw the ball go past, and she, for a moment, I think she said, I'm not chasing that, but then she put in a valiant effort.
Oh, end-to-end stuff here, and Amy Harrison making a terrible ball look pretty well amazing, and then keeping the ball in, recycling the play, and then it was a great result to finish in a shot there from Renee Rollison. But both teams, as you can see in the heat here, really need to value the ball better, and that final execution, it's really not sustainable. We're up to 42 minutes now, and as you can imagine, that would be difficult to be able to sustain in the second half. And just keep the ball in this, let the ball do the work.
And Sydney have been forced to make that one substitution, so the cards really fall in the way of Western Sydney, if you like. They've still got the full armoury on the bench. Not needed the back 10 minutes of the game, although they'll be happy with the combination out there today. Will Boardman, a couple of the US players, Michelle Carney, as you mentioned, putting herself into good position too, a very knowledgeable striker. Needs her teammates to find her. A little more frequency, perhaps. Well, let's have it again.
This is the dangerous period here for Western Sydney Wanderers. The last 2 weeks, they've conceded goals in the last 3 minutes of the first half.
Sam Johnson. Western Sydney valuing that lead. A couple of minutes to go before the break.
We have 11 players behind the ball. To go in at 1-1 now would be a huge disappointment to them. So as you can see, they're quite bunched in at the moment.
Harrison with Uzenla. Johnson. Ralston square, so too Tegan Allen, trying to give them a little bit of width to break up the congestion in the centre. Oh, she bites off more than she can chew. Jarvie goes away. Carney struggling to keep pace. Now she gets into speed. That's a good tackle from Ralston. She looked up and just didn't have too much assistance in the centre. Big turn from Bolger. And forward to Tobin, that's good. And Spencer with a wonderful first touch. He's going to chase it out and wins the corner. And that's a good effort from Jasmine Spencer. The pressure came from Jess Seaman.
She's made a glorious run in behind here, as we'll see Natalie Tobin play the ball out, and then a first-time touch from Chloe Lagazzo. That's the football that Sydney FC play. It's glorious to watch. It's so important that Chloe Lagazzo plays that first time and shows that excellent vision.
Now Rollison with the corner. across the face of goal. Seaman nods it out. Carney in turn was taken down by Tobin. Not a bad effort too from Natalie Tobin on the left foot from wide out. It was slow motion stuff, but it wasn't too far away in the end. 3 minutes to go in the first half, courtesy of the injury and a couple of other stoppages. Natalie Tobin, 17. She just had her 18th birthday, I think, so we'll say happy birthday. But a week or two ago, Natalie Tobin. Well, now Western Sydney go through Keelan Winters. Inside is Patinos. The overlapping run from Kendall Johnson. Johnson with a beautiful cross the far post and a decisive header from Harrison that she had to make. That was a fine build-up.
Oh, excellent cross in there. And a great overlapping run from Johnson there. As we can see, as you mentioned, Amy Harrison had to make that connection with the ball because we had Michelle Carney, the diving header in behind.
Bolger. With Sam Johnson, Renee Rollison, attended by Winters. We've used up a minute of the extra time in the first half. Lagazo having too much success. It's the chasing Helen Patinos. Allen looks up and just a wall of Western Sydney Wanderers jerseys.
Yeah, they're sitting quite deep now. Michelle Carney, but to sit the inner circle there.
Winters was touched behind Patinos though. Throw in Sydney. Minute and a half to go before half-time, and a welcome half-time at that. Spencer, eager. 2 touches good in the centre. It's a vacant pasture. Johnson lays it forward, and Seaman now gives Carney something to chase with Ralston. This will be interesting. Ralston gets the better of the duel, and Allen in turn will just lay it back. 1 minute of time added on to go. Is this going to be characteristic of the second half, or will Western Sydney change it up a little bit? This has been successful so far, playing Sydney on the break and looking comfortable doing so, and then sending everyone behind the ball.
I wonder if Caitlin Jarvie is the player that they've been missing all season. She's really added that spark in the midfield, and she's had so many more touches on the ball than any other midfielder, and really played well this first half. I don't think we'll see her in the second half, given this is her first match back.
Well, that's a great ball, Spencer. The first touch was a little bit heavy. Bolger trying to conjure something up. Allen sends it into the far post, and Harrison was in. But the eye went from the ball because it didn't land just underneath her foot. The keeper beaten.
Such a dangerous ball in here. As you can see, it's got venom, it's got curl, it's got everything on it. And Amy Harrison unmarked at the back.
Half-time, Tegan Allen frustrated that the last delivery didn't produce the goal that it probably deserved. Trudy Burke keeps a clean sheet in the first half. Western Sydney with the lead. A surprising one, perhaps. Maybe Sydney right for the plucking today with a couple of key injuries. At the top of the list, Teresa Polaris, who was an absolute workhorse. Now, there's the possession stake. Sydney FC enjoying it, but not converting that.
We can't really split the two teams here for me. And balls in the penalty area, pretty even there. And then obviously shots on target for me is interesting. 7 to Western Sydney's 5. And look, Sydney, if they continue to play this way, they might just break down Western Sydney, but they've been extremely strong and disciplined in defence, and they'll need more of that in the second half to keep at this result.
Let's go down to Caitlin Jarvie with Stephanie Brants.
Thank you very much, Peter Wilkins. Caitlin, great to see you out there, and tell me what makes you more happy and your team more happy, the fact that you're a goal ahead or the fact you haven't conceded any?
So happy. The girls have been working so hard, and especially against local Derby. There's no better feeling, but we won't get ahead of ourselves yet. The 45 minutes to go.
Yeah, of course there is. But it is great to see you back out there. You enjoying being back on the pitch?
Definitely. I've worked really hard. I did my knee the the day before the first game. So to finally be here, it's great feeling.
We're enjoying it. We're going to see you for the second 45.
Don't know yet.
We'll let you go and find out. Thanks, Caitlin.
Thank you.
Yeah, Caitlin Jarvie certainly enjoying the first half of this derby here at Edensor Park, where it is Western Sydney Wanderers in the lead by 1-0. Now, while the players take a break and get out of the heat for a few minutes, let's catch up with Georgina Tunney, who'll take us through the highlights of the last round of the W League.
The competition's two top teams went into battle and the home side had the first real chance, but it was well read by Casey Dumont. So 0-0 at the break, and it would take something special to split them. Mariana Tabane's Thunderbolt was just that. Powerfully placed, Perth up by 1. While trying to extend their lead, Kate Gill's collision with Dumont earned the striker a warning. She avoided a yellow, while a lacerated liver ended Dumont's game. 1-0 was how it finished. Perth make it 6 straight wins and are the only side still undefeated for 2014. In the nation's capital, Canberra United were favourites against the winless Lady Reds, and Michelle Heyman showed why early. But Melissa Barbieri refused to buy into the underdogs tag and kicked with absolute perfection to set up Christy Moore's first of the afternoon. Adelaide held Canberra scoreless right up to the 47th minute when Heyman finally wrong-footed Barbieri for maximum results. Christy Moore was on the hunt for her brace though, and she got it moments later, aiming low and wide. So 1-2 to the Lady Reds, but Laurie Lindsay's trusty corner found Caitlin Munoz and the scores were tied again. Monique Ianella's sideline break got Moore back in the action before young gun Tian Powell made the most of a Melissa Maisels deflection. So the Lady Reds earned their first win of this season in style, 2-3 winners over last year's premiers. Coming off their first win of the season, the Wanderers flew the Jets off course early when Michelle Carney forced a mistake from new keeper Hannah Southwell. Their lead would be short-lived as Emily Van Egmond lined up the equaliser seconds before the halftime whistle. Angela Salem found fellow American Catherine Reynolds from this corner, and the Jets took the lead just 2 minutes into the second. Another Salem corner, another goal to Newcastle, this time courtesy of their vice-captain's head. And she was back at it soon after. Tara Andrews secured her brace, out-sprinting the Wanderers' cover. So 1-4, 15 minutes left to play, and Georgia Yeoman-Dale wanted her first goal in Newcastle colours to be memorable. And with this solo effort, mission accomplished. A 1-5 win to the Jets in an impressive come-from-behind performance, while the Wanderers rarely threatened. It took 72 minutes for the deadlock to finally be broken in the ABC match, and it was all courtesy of Amy Jackson's 4th goal in 2 games. The reigning champs in front, 0-1. Returning from her 3rd knee reconstruction, Brisbane's Amy Chapman nearly tied it up 10 minutes later. But despite their lacklustre start to 2014, the Raw are a champion team and they pounce on any opportunity, and that's exactly what super sub Sonny Franco did, 1-1. So not the win Brisbane were desperately searching for, but a great draw against the informed Victory may kickstart their race towards the top 4.
The W League action continuing today with Sydney FC up against Western Sydney Wanderers in the derby. Nothing in the match. Western Sydney, though, have a surprising lead considering their position on the table. They haven't conceded a goal so far, and they've scored 1 to lead the favourites by that 0-0. Keelan Winters from the penalty spot in the 15th minute. Round 7 started yesterday up in Newcastle, up against the hapless Brisbane. They haven't enjoyed the best start to the season. And in the 36th minute, Emily Van Egmond put a great through ball for Tori Houston to score.
Glorious ball in and a great run equally from Tori Huster there.
Now in the 37th minute, Amber Nielsen, Emily Van Egmond. What a delightful chip from Emily Van Egmond. 2-0 in supreme form this year. And on the cusp of the World Cup here, that's great for the Matildas. Now, here's something you don't see often. Brisbane, although they have potted a couple into their own net this year, that was deplorable.
Oh, look, pretty much typifies their season so far. Clearing off the line and coming back onto KK, back into the goal.
Then Larissa Cromer brought down Georgia Yeomandale, and Emily Van Egmond leaping up to make it 4-0. That was in the 67th minute. Brooke Spence combined with Tamika Butt, who had 2 bites of the cherry to make it 4-1. A consolation for Brisbane, who now have just had the 1 win from their 7 matches so far. Let's hear first of all from Emily Van Egmond and then Tamika Butt.
We really wanted to be a top contender for the top 4. We have to go out and get 3 points from now on in. It's a very short season, so it's very critical you get as many points as you can.
We worked hard all game. We had a lot of chances, so it was good to get 1 goal away. But I think we had better chances than even that goal at the end, so we definitely need to work on our finishing.
One of the upsets of the W League history was Western Sydney Wanderers beating Brisbane. This is up there as well. Adelaide up against Perth. Lisa Marie Woods was wide in the first half. There was a save from Melissa Barrieri, and then off the post from Christy Moore, finding some space in behind with her pace. This was a magic shot. She was to be rewarded, though. In the 61st minute, there was just 1 goal in the game, and it came to Moore.
Oh, look, her team have needed this from her, and that's 3 goals in 2 games and a glorious finish there. All class from Christy Moore.
Let's hear from Christy Moore and also Caitlin Ford, looking at this match ruefully and looking ahead to next week against Melbourne.
There's not really too many good things we can pick from that game. I don't even think we had any shots on goal, to be honest. So I don't think we look too much at that game. Maybe look at our previous games and get back to where we are. And it is going to be a tough game next week, and we definitely need to turn up to play, or the same thing's going to happen.
We've got so much potential in the team, you know, a lot of good young players, and then us oldies that also bring it up. So I think there's a lot more good things to come.
Now, a record W League crowd, courtesy of the double-header with the A-League, you might say, but still 14,000 piling in early. That's a terrific response. Ashley Sykes with an early chance, but then we saw the goal. Michelle Heyman shooting and Ashley Sykes picking off the crumbs.
Look, in the context of the season, this is actually an upset for me, and especially in front of a crowd of 14,000, which is just excellent for the W League.
Now, a collision between Lisa DeVanna and Ellie Brush. It looked nasty. Lisa DeVanna received a yellow card for her parts. And then in the 70th minute, DeVanna in the running roll sends the pass into Ellie Reid. A real chance at the near post, but the pressure came from Canberra. And the victory too. So Canberra beating Melbourne by 1-0. Let's hear from Christine Nairn and also the Canberra coach, Liz Mickelson.
It's amazing to play in a stadium like this and with all the crowd. And yes, we win. It was good for us, good for our confidence. And finally we score a goal. That was our biggest issue in the last few games.
It's a tough point in our season. We just dropped some points. We dropped to 5th place. And, you know, the only way we can go is up right now. And we need to look in the mirror and, you know, do what we can and play within ourselves. And I think we're totally capable of all these things. Now it's just really time to go to work.
The first half, this was a fine touch from Keelan Winters, siding through the defence. Tegan Allen infringing, and the referee with no option but to call a penalty.
Oh, and based on that replay, Winters actually had a lot of work to do to be able to beat that player there, and especially Tegan Allen taking that first touch in front of her was just class.
1-0 and a foul at the other end in strike range too. Jasmine Spencer, she's been the one thorn for Western Sydney with her pace and guile in and around the area. She has got great skill. Renee Rollison wide with the free kick, as she would later in the half. Close to half-time, this was the chance. Amy Harrison seemed to take the eye off the ball and beat Trudy Burke. Tegan Allen had sent the pass in. Confirming the scores in round 7, Newcastle 4 over Brisbane. Adelaide 1, Perth 0, Melbourne 0, Canberra 1. And the upsets could be 4 out of 4 if the Wanderers can release themselves and release their confidence in the second half and convert that 1-0 scoreline. You can follow the W League action on the ABC iView. There's the Thursday replay nationally, Facebook and Twitter at ABC W League. Let's head down to Stephanie Brantz.
I'm here with Sydney FC head coach Daniel Barrett, and wow, 2 weeks I think in the top job. How are you finding it?
Yeah, finding it good. Yeah, the transition has been good. It helped obviously that I was very familiar with the players and the playing style. So no, it's been very good, very good.
You had to make a few changes this week due to illness and injury and that sort of thing. What did you make of your first half?
First half, I think we made things difficult for ourselves a lot of the time. Unfortunately, just forcing things that weren't on, and basically things like not tracking players. So we've addressed that at half time, and we just need to go out there and do better jobs.
Well, Sydney FC, of course, are very strong finishers, and the Wanderers, we know, perhaps don't finish quite so well. Is that something that you focused on?
It was mentioned. Yeah, it was mentioned, but the girls have to execute, and we need to be better. So hopefully we can see that happen in the second half.
Great stuff. Dan, thanks for chatting to us, and good luck for second 45.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Daniel Barrett with a great history in and around the Sydney FC club and in Swiss. And he is in charge in the second half. I'm not so sure psychologically about the halftime chat, whether you mention your opponents are not good at finishing off games. It's more about what you've got to do. He was right there.
Oh, they've had equal chances, Wilco, and this is just a really dangerous second half here for Wanderers. If they can't take the same approach as they did in the first half, Sydney FC are a team that really can capitalise on their chances, and they haven't won 2 championships for nothing, and really are quite capable of more than what they actually showed in the first half.
But you can go into a match like this against a team that has wilted in the second half of many a match this season. They've conceded 27 goals. You can go in maybe a bit too sure of yourselves, a little bit of complacency there, thinking it's going to happen rather than making it happen.
It's fair to say that Sydney FC need the points more than Wanderers.
Now the ball into the near post, and that's to no one offside in any case.
Yeah, they need the points more than Wanderers, and Wanderers are a desperate team right now. They're playing for pride, and really, I guess it's fair to say they've been unlucky in matches, and really their concentration has let them down. So a win here today would really would boost, I guess, their chances for next year even. They're building something, this team.
Well, they were forced to make a lot of changes this year with many a departure, a change of coach as well. And that's offside at the other end of the field, called by Sarah Ho.
Sarah, easy offside here. We see Caitlin Jarvie still on the field. It's probably just too hard to resist for Norm Boardman to take her off, I guess.
Well, you needed to go off on the stretcher, wouldn't you? The way she was playing in the first half, finding the space and the little bit of energy in the centre of the field. And Rollison tucks it back so they can restart.
Sydney FC need to get their number 10 on the ball a little bit more. And keeping in mind also Renee Rollison, she's been out for 2 weeks. I believe it was a hamstring issue, and the heat today might be affecting her a little bit. It's affecting me.
Bolger, Harrison, Spencer, that's delightful on the outside of Suter. She has pace. Who's looming in the centre? Well, that's a good response from Rachel Suter.
It's a great little ball in for Amy Harrison. She is really showing her speed today. I wasn't actually quite aware of how fast she was, but there's been a couple of times her first touches, she's just glide past players, and she's such an exciting young prospect.
Rollison from the edge, and it's swinging in. Oh, the keeper taken out. And all the way through for a goal kick in any case. Trudy Burke hit the deck.
You see just a bit too much on this ball here. That's key for Wanderers today. The majority of their goals have been, or the goals that they've conceded have been on set plays.
Nodded back in by Uzenla, looking for Spencer. It's going to fall for Lagazzo. Nice touch. It's Tobin. Natalie Tobin. A couple couple of the long ponytails out there. But, Tobin, Uzenla, and also Lagazzo, Harrison. And a throw into the Wanderers. Any movement on the bench yet, Steph? And give me that temperature check. Are they going to have another drinks break in the second half?
I believe there is a scheduled drinks break even. I can't even say it.
It's the heat, Steph.
It is. Heat's got to me. But it is much more comfortable down here. The temperature is dropping and the breeze is still around, although it's not as strong as it was before.
Alston with Carney. Throw in to Western Sydney as each minute goes by. Sydney have to draw a bit deeper. And Western Sydney, can they somehow sneak another goal and really climb the mountain of confidence and take it on for the rest of the game? That would throw the apple right out of the cart. That's not a shot that she'd want back. A rueful look from Caitlin Jarvie.
It's still just a difference in their approach to the game. I think they've been guilty of not actually having enough shots. They're getting in the good positions, especially in the final third, but just really not backing themselves. And I'd much rather see that having the shot and have it skyrocket rather than not have it at all.
Bolger mistrap, gets the better of it. Harrison, wonderful first touch. Spencer in the centre. Tobin galloping towards the near post. And there's Tobin, real chance. Uzenla was there as well. Spencer hoists it. It's still in play. In the safe arms of Trudy Burke. Well, that was a vast array of nothingness, but it seemed to be about to fall and never did.
Western Sydney have enough numbers back there. It just couldn't fall to Sydney FC.
Now, Carney tucks it back to Jarvie, walks over it. Uzenla says thank you. Spencer downfield with Harrison. Bolger struggling to make ground. That's a good pinpoint pass. He was taken down from behind. Is it going to be a free kick? No. Good pressure from Jessica Seaman. And again, the live wire, Jasmine Spencer, the biology major, is darting around at will upfield and is the person most likely to get Sydney FC back in the game. Rollison, Harrison, Lagazzo with the overlapping run, and she takes players with her. Oh, this is good. She's brought down on the edge. No. Well, O'Neill seemed to take a line. Maybe in horse racing parlance there was the opportunity for the protest, but the referee, the steward, waved it away at the other end of the field now. Patinos might go all the way and have a shot, and it goes across the face and too wide. And too wide.
Sydney FC might have been hard done by there. It's a glorious run here from Amy Harrison. She's just been pulled down there for me.
Yes, that's a free kick. Well, the arm went out. She grabs the crook of the right arm. That's just a free kick every day of the week. And in that glorious position too. So that's one that has escaped the referee. Winters with a touch on. Uzenla, good skill. Johnson, Harrison, Lagazzo, and a good work in turn to Tobin. Seaman reads the play, and that'll be a throw-in to Western Sydney. And good play at the back, and a smile of satisfaction reaches the face of Jessica Seaman. Another with a great history of W League behind her. And over 40 appearances in the W League for the 24-year-old. Ralston has Allen with her. A little bit of room in front. Here's Rollison. Well, who wants it? And there's a chance. Jarvie right through the centre. Jarvie shoots over. That was a real chance. Sydney dreaming the back pass, bisecting players. They were on the sofa
really bad back pass and some miscommunication here from Johnson and Rolleston. As you can see, Rolleston's push high. And who's there to pick up the crumbs? Jarvie. She's just everywhere at the moment, and really just her final execution off, but always where she needs to be. She's just, her work rate for this match has just been higher than anyone else's on the field.
Uzenla. Can she get it on that right foot again? Legazzo back to Bolger. Might get a second bite. Legazzo surging into the area. And this is going to be the way of Sydney FC. So the game really opening out now. And you can sense a goal coming. Is it going to be the equaliser, or Western Sydney? Can they take another stride towards their second win of the year? Hannah Beard does well, beats 1-2, slides it along the line, looking for Carney, and picks up the crumbs but then walks over it. Harrison, Rolleston, Ralston, time to measure the pass. Bolger wants it and has it at the feet. Tobin makes a run, that's the decoy. Oh, what a touch it was from Spencer, shoots, what a goal! A special delivery from Jasmine Spencer, levels it up. Such goal, such poise, and a strike to match. It's 1-1.
I am calling it now. This is one of the goals of the season. The build-up play for this goal is just unbelievable. The class of Sydney SC here and the finish here from Spencer. This has all started from deep in the midfield. Nice little touch, great little ball on her right foot there, and then a sweet finish. Far corner, left corner. There's nothing Trudy Burke could do but pick that out of the back of the net. The combination play from that, hopefully we get to see it in the replay, but more than 10 touches on that. Really built that up and really, I guess, earned the right to be able to get through the centre of the two defenders there.
Well, that's a wonderful goal indeed. Just the subtlest of touches, eluding the defence, and the strike across the keeper. Oh, that's a run to offside. O'Neill, there wasn't much in it. She tucks it in, no goal. Oh, that was close. The replay, is this going to tell a story? Linda O'Neill is not amused. Sarah Ho, plenty of experience at the top level and also in the A-League as well. She's officiated. Let's have a look at the run. She's just onside here, I think.
She is.
She's onside. She's onside.
Tegan Allen's kept her onside here, and she's been given the yellow for a ball after the... No, but she's finished the play after the whistle. Said she didn't actually hear the whistle, but look, that's a goal. That's a goal not given to Wanderers. In my opinion, we'll get to see it on the replay, but Tegan Allen's kept her onside. You can see it on the markings of the turf here.
It's just a wonderful run. And, somewhat muted is the Western Sydney Wanderers bench. They've conceded a wonder goal from Jasmine Spencer, who makes it half a dozen from 7 matches, and she's not finished, averaging just about a goal a game. That's great strike work from the future veterinarian.
And that's 2 crucial times where the central defence for Sydney FC have had a lapse of concentration, because basically no one's picked up Linda O'Neill's run, and she's been able to just run through freely and finish that.
Tucks it forward for Allen to chase, out of play. 1-1.
You will see Tegan Allen far right. Oh, for me, she's onside there, and even it's questionable to see if Johnson and Ralston's actually kept her on.
Yeah, so there's perhaps 1 or 2 players who were keeping her onside. We saw Liz Ralston coming in from this side as well. But if you look on the edge of the 6-yard box is Tegan Allen. She's definitely outside that. See on the markings. Well, when
see
the
where
ball
Ralston is.
And Liz Ralston down out of screen, perhaps close as well. It's no goal. Linda O'Neill against her former club has no joy. She was away for the first few matches of the year, travelling overseas, not quite aligning her travel with the early start of the W League competition. And This will be finished before Christmas time to clear a path for the Asian Cup. And it also sets up a good long run in for the Matildas too. They're going to camp into early January too, and it's the World Cup in Canada next year on turf such as this. It's producing a pretty fair standard of football today. Spencer galloping forward again. The touch is good. Will she take the player on the outside, or the ball is going to find its way? Usenla with a low strike. It was a bullet too. And it brought the save. Savette Usenla. That's the second of the day. The second pile driver from long range.
Oh, there was some venom on this.
Absolutely. And she really launched into it. And Trudy Burke doing well to put the body behind it and gather it at the second attempt and not allow it to bounce free of the body too. That would have really taken some stopping. It was whistling towards her. Sydney playing obviously with some more confidence now and finding a few more holes. Harrison, another overlapping run comes from Johnson. And back is Winters to affect the tackle, but the throw goes the way of Sydney FC. Daniel Barrett's out of the chair, surveying the situation. And that was a fortuitous bounce. Seaman intervenes. And a chance for release at the other end. Carney wants the early ball. And gets it too. And ball was off the chest. And it was a good effort from Liz Ralston. There's a bit of right arm in there, but we'll give her the benefit of the doubt and off the head, perhaps. Off the head. I'll take it all back. An optical illusion. Great play, Lizzie Ralston, in the end.
Well, she had to win that there. Michelle Carney had made a great run in behind. It's interesting. Sydney FC lost last week. Didn't have Renee Rollison in the back line holding that central defence position, and she's not there today, and it just seemed a little bit rattled in the back line.
Well, Spencer, again, look at that first touch. It's going to be a yellow card. Caitlin Cooper infringing. Just the sheer pace, and the first touch is a delight every time.
Easy decision here for the ref. Professional foul. She's pulled on the shirt here, and Spencer was off. Oh, she's been a live wire for Sydney FC. She's such a joy to watch all season. And you mentioned that they haven't scored too many goals, losing that attacking prowess from last year, but the ones that she has scored are basically won Sydney FC the game every time.
Johnson taking a lot on and succeeding, tucking it forward. Can she get the cross in? Is there going to be a corner? Did that come off the Western Sydney Wanderers defender?
Don't think it
hasn't gone out, so there's the answer. And they move forward, and Rollison is turned around. Jarvie attacks. Well, the first touch was stretching her out. The defence comes. Is she going to have a shot or cross it? She crosses to the far post. It's an own goal. It's a horrible own goal from Tegan Allen. It's 2-1 to the Western Sydney Wanderers. That is unbelievable. A streaming run. Caitlin Jarvie at the heart of it again. And the cross, well, it was going to feed its way through one way or the other. She held it up, decided to chance the cross at the far post. If she'd missed it, Michelle Carney was there. But that is an own goal in any stretch of the imagination. Straight in.
All off the back of Renee Rollison being caught out. We get to see the play and the build-up to that. Jarvie getting on the back of fortuitous ball in, and basically the whole Sydney FC caught out. Jarvie's got onto the end of that and put a really hard ball in for defence to defend. And look, basically Tegan Allen is on the wrong side of that ball. Really should have been there a little bit earlier. But look, Western Sydney in a really good position to be able to take this match now.
Witness tracking back, Jasmine Spencer arguing that there's a bit of groping going on out there today. She's been handled many a time and taken to ground. Any movement on the bench, Stephanie Brantz? You'd think the replacements would be warming up thick and fast in this weather.
Sorry to disappoint you, but the benches are looking very comfortable, but enjoying the entertainment out on the pitch.
Well, Sydney, they're going to have to come from behind twice to win this match today. And that's a tall order. They find space down this left side now. Harrison, the track back from Beard. Good play. Lagazzo taken out by Suter. Still operating reasonably effectively, but Spencer is just a constant worry. Harrison getting forward. And now it's with Bulger. Free kick, though. And this is almost in the exact position that Rollison scored with a marvellous strike against Brisbane Roar.
Western Sydney need to keep their discipline here. Giving away free kicks outside the box is really just asking for trouble.
And they've had that goal disallowed. Oh, quickly taken. Here's Bulger. It squares up. Spencer can't get to it. Nicola Bulger couldn't believe her luck in close, but the defence came to the rescue.
Additionally, need to keep their concentration. Nicola Bulger just free on the edge of the box there. Renee Rollison being able to pick up the quick free kick. We know that's what Sydney FC have been known for. Catching the defence asleep, and that was a well-executed play there.
Well, no doubt the teams in the W League, all the players have gone through their strides, their paces yesterday afternoon, will be watching this match today and just wondering whether the Western Sydney team can win again for the second time this year and leave Perth with that big gap at the top of the table. It could be influential. If Sydney FC win today, that reduce that gap, and that would make the premiership again an open book. But should Western Sydney win today, Perth have a mortgage on that. They'll be with a game next week that's going to be televised. Here's Western Sydney, and a bid offside. And if the Western Sydney Wanderers win today, that will consign Brisbane Roar to the bottom of the table. That is a position unheard of in the history of the W League.
It's just, no one would have picked this last season. If you look at the ladder, you have Perth on top. Newcastle, who finished the season last year on 1 point, find themselves third on 12 points. It's just the beauty of it, isn't it?
Western Sydney battling hard. They've suffered some hammerings so far this year. Beaten first up by Canberra. That was 4-1. They did get on the board 3 times against the Melbourne Victory, but they conceded 5. Then there was the horror story. But Marconi, 10 goals conceded against Perth. Kate Gill scoring 5. Are they a chance for another one? The ball slid through to O'Neill. The touch just eluded her. She was trying a Jasmine Spencer type effort. And now Sydney with a chance to break. Tracking back well though, Beard. She's had a good game. Wide now to Natalie Tobin. Room in front for Tobin, and she surges. Will there be a shot over the end of it? No, she releases Jasmine Spencer. In the centre is Bulger. Spencer's going to go to the far post. And all the way delicately across the face of goal, and no one in position. 23 minutes to go. It's going to be enthralling, and we're going to have a drinks break. The second of the day. Jasmine Spencer, the live wire. 6 goals so far. Normally has some notes on the wrist that are family inspired, that takes her through every game. I wonder if there is something today from a family over in Maryland. This was the equaliser, and this was just a beautiful build-up.
Oh, absolutely, and we didn't actually get to see the 5 passes before Rollison's, and then the finish from Spencer here really can just turn a game on its head. It's so exciting to see her in our league, and that first touch on her right foot, and then across her body, bottom left. She's made it look much easier than it is.
And the no goal, Linda O'Neill with a well-timed run, but not according to assistant referee Sarah Ho. Linda O'Neill, there's the replay. It looked as though from that angle, even though it is a little bit obtuse, a bit of an optical illusion, Now the own goal. The first touch, but she did well, Caitlin Jarvie. There was the look up and the other touch, and now the cross. It was going to be dangerous. If it found its way through to Carney, would have been a goal in any case, but Allen, wrong place at the wrong time, you might say. Tegan Allen, and she concedes an own goal. Western Sydney Wanderers 2, Sydney FC 1.
She'll be extremely disappointed with herself that she didn't get back quick enough to get on the right side of the play. But look, Jarvie had actually done quite well to hold the ball up. Just enough time to put that dangerous ball in. But it's all off the back of their transitioning play, really. They've just been so well disciplined with, as you could say, 10 players behind the ball in defence, and then in attack they push numbers forward.
Well, Hannah Beard doing well. Equally so. Johnson, Sam Johnson. Now Bolger. Rollison. Good play to Harrison. Lagazzo is going to open up the way for Harrison. Tucks it into Spencer again. And they're awake. Oh, Harrison onside. She is. It's going to be a corner kick. Delightful play again from Sydney FC. Now, no offside, no, definitely. But she did clatter into the opponent. That she might have given away a free kick. Of course, that's entirely legitimate in AFL. As we watch the ball to the near post, headed clear. Patinos back to lend assistance. Now Tobin with a chip. Trudy Burke safely under the flighted ball. 20 and a bit minutes to go, an enthralling contest.
I think if Sydney FC are going to be successful here, it's just so bunched up in the middle of the park. Really need to use the speed of Amy Harrison and especially Saved Uzenla to use the width of this field and really stretch Western Sydney Wanderers out. They have so many players in behind the ball.
Caitlin Jarvie, to her absolute credit, is still galloping, and Norm Boardman's probably just saying, another 5, Caitlin, another 5. Every moment she's out there, you'd think the Western Sydney Wanderers' chances of victory increase today. It's been a wow of a game.
Well, Dan Barrett's looking to inject some fresh legs into this game. We're going to see Trudy Camilleri make an appearance shortly. She's just preparing to come on, and Natalie Tobin will be coming off.
Simon gives away a free kick. Well, Harrison not really taking time over that delivery. There's the penalty. Jarvie, was there a handball? Well, that's a fine run again from Carney. It's going to bounce with Carney, and she chips onto the crossbar unbelievably. Shoots again. It's saved. That is extraordinary. Michelle Carney with a delightful chip. She waited with bated breath to see whether it would tuck its way under the crossbar. It collected the crossbar. Another calamity in defence for Sydney FC. It should have been 3-1.
Found herself in a great position again, and you'll see that Johnson's actually called for offside, but it's not offside because it's come off a defender and really should have tracked the run. And Carney gets a second bite at the cherry, and
Sydney are opening up now through to Patinos. Patinos, can she drag it to Carney? Here's Keelan Winters spooning it over. Oh, despair again. Game could be buried, you'd think, with another goal. And so 2 chances in the space of 45 seconds. Oh, so close for Western Sydney.
Sydney FC again, just with a little bit of lapse of concentration in the back end of their field. The defence have just been a little bit in shambles, especially the second half. Michelle Carney, her hard work today almost resulting in another goal.
Well, Trudy Camilleri, 23-year-old, comes onto the field. She'll be celebrating in September. And she had an impact to this game today. Western Sydney, they do look vulnerable on the break, but so does Sydney FC. You'd think we might have 2 more goals coming in this game, given that the conditions are oppressive and the players have been belting along. They haven't left anything in the dressing room today. There's another charge in the back. It's play on. Advantage, Lagazzo. Slices it wide. Well, Jasmine Spencer She has taken fall after fall. She's been well attended. But the referee did play advantage, otherwise it would have been another free kick.
Oh, she's definitely been roughed up a little bit today, and here in the back, it's a free kick there. Just mentioned there probably hasn't been too much in between these two teams, but when Sydney FC do go forward, they've really just forgotten about their defensive duties and pushing too many numbers forward. They should really always have 3 at the back, and they've really let go of that aspect of their game, where conversely Wanderers have actually equally have looked after their defensive and attacking duties. They've been so well disciplined, similar to the men last night.
Bolger with the touch. Western Sydney holding shape again. It's going to be the big double. Western Sydney Wanderers men over Al Hilal, and then in the derby, Western Sydney work to do. Rollison powers through the centre. Spencer wants the ball at the feet. Oh, Rollison might go all the way. Still with Rollison on the non-favoured foot. Puts it to Lagazo looking for the shot. Corner kick. Suter drags it out of play.
Here, Chloe Lagazo had made a great run out left, and Rollison possibly could have played a little bit earlier, but again, we can see that when she has the ball, you know something's going to happen.
Husenlar up to patrol the edge of the 6-yard box. Rollison at the far post. Johnson, and headed clear. No trouble at all. Too many in the right spot for that corner. But they're going to get the throw in, Sydney FC. Regulars have made the trip today. Hannah Beard streaming forward. Carney holding up her run. Beard still going. Beard looking for Patinos. Wide left. Keelan Winters is inside. Is this going to be 3? Over the top. She had time to measure the shot. Helen Patinos. She scored a goal already so far this year. And she did score that consolation v Perth, but they had Michelle Carney. They had a couple of options, didn't they, Sarah Walsh?
Absolutely. Michelle Carney had run a little bit offside and then pulled back to stay on. And as you mentioned, Patinos has opted to take the shot, and see they're still pushing with numbers.
Jasmine Spencer to Lagazo. Seaman putting in the long strides. And that's a good defensive effort from Jessica Seaman. And now they can turn defence into attack. Patinos offside is the call against Caitlin Jarvie. $14 to go. And Norm Boardman staying with the troops on the field. Stephanie Brantz again. No one interested.
I'm sure the girls are interested, but no, Norm's hasn't got any of them getting ready to go just yet. It's actually Dan Barrett that looks like he's going to go for his 3rd change.
He doesn't want to change the winning formula at the moment. Boardman is perhaps frozen to the moment. There's a player down. It's going to have to be tucked out of play. Linda O'Neill, and for the 2nd time this afternoon, she hits the deck and she looks in a good deal of pain, the left leg. It's a collision.
50-50 challenge here for me, and they both had to go into it. But Uzenla obviously coming out the better for it.
This may actually force Norm Boardman's hand. He's now sent his subs to warm up, so we'll just give Linda O'Neill a few minutes and see how she pulls up.
I think it's a well-earned, well-deserved rest and drink break for both teams.
And Linda O'Neill, she's been the wars in her career at various times with the Achilles strains and hip surgery. So she's a bit of a warrior too. And is this the end for her today? She gets up rather gingerly. Takes on some welcome hydration. So with time ticking away, we did expect that we'd have a good deal of injury time today as the fans enjoying the action this afternoon in the derby. And Western Sydney, well, they can not only go above Brisbane roar on the table and leave Brisbane in the basement position with a win today. They can record their first win in 6 starts against Sydney FC. And Sydney FC will be anchored on the 13 points, leaving Perth 5 clear. There's a lot to go in the match. You wouldn't like to call it at this stage, but it is Western Sydney in front. Uzenla. Camilleri wanted it at the feet and it went wide and harmlessly over the edge. Tegan Allen giving away the own goal. And that's a neat touch on from Carney. Taken out of play by Johnson, but showing all the guile, all the experience. Michelle Carney.
She's worked so hard today. You can still see her putting pressure on the defence. I just earlier seen Teresa Polias walk by and really highlights they're really missing her in the midfield today, and obviously Renee Rollison in that central defensive role. They had to make their early sub with Clifford, so that'll also come into play.
Johnson still steaming along. Blagazzo. Spencer wins the throw in. Trying to release Amy Harrison. And ball onto the field. Keeper hooks it down. Blagazzo can't trap it. And coming into the last 10 minutes of official time. I'd suspect to be 4 minutes, 5 minutes even. So a good quarter of an hour to go in this match. Western Sydney clinging to the 1-goal lead. Carney, oh, great touch. Beard slides it down the edge. The back heel is superb from Jarvie. Finds Beard. Beard cruising across field. Johnson does well. There it is for Beard. Will she chance the shot? She does. It's parried away, though, by Rollison. Right work. Hannah Beard enjoying a good day out as well.
Renee Rollison providing great cover here. She's really worked hard to get back, and Johnson's actually held up Hannah Beard long enough. But again, another tack from Western Sydney Wanderers.
Ralston, open space. And now a chance for Camilleri to drive forward. Weaving. Uzenla. Oh, looking for the first time. Ball to Spencer, but it's copped O'Neill, and she's down for the third time today.
She's caught that point blank in the head very unexpectedly, and
yeah, she's collected this straight up in the face here.
Oh, that is a knockout blow. We wish Linda O'Neill well and a speedy recovery, but she has gone down onto the synthetic canvas today and receives treatment for the third time.
Yeah, well, we'd only just seen her run back on, and in fact, Norm Boardman was looking at making a change, but he held off on that. It's Dan Barrett who is he's hesitating at the moment. We've got Olivia Price on the sideline ready to go, and judging by the way Savette Uzenla is stretching out her calves, I think she's going to be the one that makes way.
Well, the Katoomba-born Linda O'Neill is perhaps crying for the white flag to be thrown in here, the white towel at least. She surely must be given the mercy rule, down 3 times today. But Norm Boardman says, stay out there, Linda. Come on, back on your feet. He's a hard marker, a hard man.
Might get to see Policina come on for Western Sydney Wanderers if Linda O'Neill can't get up. But considering the heat, it might be I guess a better option. She has been hit in the head.
And now
I think we will see the change here, Steph.
Yeah, I think you're right. Norm's having a very close chat there with, I'm just trying to...
Baker.
It's Jordan Baker, is it?
Yep.
You've obviously got a better angle.
A bit of concern now from Linda for the neck, I think, is... you never like to see this in sport, but when she rolled over, she might have
That's terrible
pulled a
to
little
see.
bit of a muscle. She's moving her head and she moves her hands and everything, but they're going to take the precautionary route as we look at the drive into the sort of turned her head and caught her right in the ear and temple region. But from that position, she did roll over, and it might not have been the right move to make.
I think we'll see Michelle Carney drop back into the midfield with a player like Baker coming on. This is not good to see. It's good to see her up there.
Well, Linda O'Neill, it's been a brave performance today, and she's scored a goal that wasn't given. Pulled back for offside. I guess that was our view. Applause, though, for Linda O'Neill. She'll take no further part in proceedings today.
Meanwhile, Norm Boardman was able to have his team come over for drinks. And with this change, we might see a change in formation. Jordan Baker up top. As I mentioned, Michelle Carney dropping into the midfield, providing that experience. Sorry, Steph.
Sorry, Walshy. We've still got Olivia Price standing by as well. The bib's gone back on, so I'm not sure whether the break has given Savette a little bit of enough of rest, perhaps, to play on for a few more minutes. Or it could be that Dan's actually watching what Norm's going to do so he can counter it.
Well, we're running the clock down today. Is the ball given back, sportsmanlike fashion, to Western Sydney, and perhaps have 7 or 8 minutes of extra time. You'd think, if it's under the strict letter of the clock. Now the ball through, and chasing is Jordan Baker. There was a push in the back.
Referee giving away the free kick there. And we have seen Michelle Carney drop into the midfield. Looks like she might be picking up Savette Uzumla.
Suter tosses it up, nodded on by Baker. Oh, that's a great surge from Jarvie. And the cross not matching the work. Just slewed off the outside of the right boot a little bit. The advantage still with Western Sydney. 15 to go, plus you'd think 6, 7, 8 minutes perhaps of time added on. And plenty of time for a result either way. But Western Sydney, they've just got the bounce in the step at the moment. Anna Beard has been operating with plenty of verve today. Keelan Winters scored a penalty and done plenty in the middle of the park as well. They're going to take stock and take their time. Seaman, a high ball through. Baker's onside. Here she can put it to bed. Oh, she hasn't managed to slide it past the advancing keeper, McLaren. That is another incredible miss, you'd have to say. The flag did stay down. She was onside and had an eternity to either chip or slide it past or even round the keeper. So Jordan Baker, the future paramedic, need to give herself some attention after that miss later on in the day.
We'll see. That might have been a second touch of the match, and she made an excellent run in behind. Possibly too much time on the ball to be able to think, but really with the pace that she has, it's a one-on-one with a keeper. You take it past her and slot it home. But again, not picked up. Sydney FC not tracking their runners.
Kept in, but only, well, it does ricochet advantageously to Spencer. The turn, delivers it to Seaman. And now there's some energy. The players benefiting from the short breaks, the injury breaks, and prior to that, the drink break. Jarvie trying to work the magic with Baker. Bulger looking for the through ball to pick up Lagazzo. Sydney with the throw in. 12 and a half to go. Of real time. Western Sydney clinging on. Spencer, another wonderful turn. The second, the third, the fourth touches, they were good. The shot's not bad. And notched over brilliantly by Trudy Burke. Oh, a shot par excellence, and Burke with the sun in the eyes had to call on Hall her resolve to tap it over.
Oh, we see Spencer again on her right foot and possibly even had that shot off balance, and maybe she did know that Trudy Burke did have the sun in her eyes, and resulting finally basically it was a good shot. dipping right at the end there too.
Well, now Sydney pressing. Harrison, can she find the mark to the near post? Oh, almost finds its way through to Bolger. Desperate from Camilleri. Rollison tees it up. Lagazzo fires it over.
Oh, she's just been wonderful today, Spencer. Western Sydney Wanderers, they do not want to be giving away any corners or free kicks outside the box right now. I'm actually surprised to not see that change, Steph. Does Sydney FC still have a change?
Well, they do still have a change, but Olivia Price has gone back to sit down, so I think he's decided to leave Servette on, but she was certainly stretching out. It looked like she was perhaps having some calf cramping, so maybe she's all right now, and he's just decided to save it in case there is a million minutes of extra time.
Seems like they could possibly do with that spark in the midfield.
Spencer easily around Cooper, who chases. And she just let it run, but still it frees up somehow. Like the pinball parlour. Spencer rolls back, she'll go again, taken out of play. Good decisive tackle from, Caitlin Jarvie. Spencer again, burrows along. The back heel is good. The shot from Uzenland, not bad.
Not bad at all. This looks like the wind's actually picked up on this, and she's hit that sweetly, but hooked it a little bit to the left. Sydney's still building things with 5 minutes to go. Will we see a change from Sydney FC?
5 minutes to hang on. Western Sydney nodded back by Rollison, who's inching a little bit higher as the game progresses, as you'd understand. Bolger, she's got room in front. Elects to go for Lagazzo, who'll try and cut back. The rolling pass onto Bolger. Bolger laid onto the ground, no penalty. She bounced into the opponent. It was a 50-50 ball, said the referee. No pen, out of play. Sydney throw, looking for the equaliser. Lagazzo chases, and she wants the corner. She's pushed to ground. Surely that's a free kick. Well, it has to be a free kick. There's a push in the back.
Wanderers lucky to get away with that there.
Allen, real urgency from Sydney FC, but is it too late? Camilleri back to Allen. Rollison. Still plenty of talk in the defence of Western Sydney, looking for only their second win of the year. Both would be regarded as massive upsets, this more so. Now Winters looks up. Jarvie ghosting into space. She's made a great run. But that was a fine tackle from Tegan Allen, and the ball downfield, trapped well by Cooper. Sent wide to Johnson, just loops it downfield. Good control in turn from Rollison. Again, plenty of troops guarding the fort for Western Sydney, and Winters it is to send Beard away. Jarvie powers onto the ball, and she's done a hamstring. Oh, that's terrible. You hate to see that. And she was just about to sprint out. Well, it's a cramp, we hope, but it had that hammy look about it, didn't it? Hopefully it's not. And she just was putting the accelerator down. There's a player out of play. Sydney, meanwhile, roam forward. Bolger looks to slide it in. Away they come now through Beard. Arms in the air for Jarvie. So they're down a player on the field. Beard still going strong. Rollison tries the block-busting tackle. Now Keelan Winters comes up with it. Patinos onside just. In the centre is Jordan Baker. The back heel is a good one. Back to Winters. Baker waits at the far post in no hurry.
Smart play there from Keelan Winters. Could have played the cross in, but keeping the ball.
Cooper. And that eludes Winters. She couldn't find the mark. Tegan Allen rolls it on the deck to Spencer. And there's another barrelling exchange. Spencer will be battered and bruised. She'll need the big ice bath. Offside. is Jordan Baker.
We see Jarvie out on the right here.
Yeah, she's
unable
coming
to
off.
run.
Yeah, she's coming off. They're going to put Grace Henry on for the last couple of minutes. Great effort, though, from Caitlin Jarvie. Wonderful shift.
Oh, she's been excellent today. She's been everywhere. She started in the midfield, but spent most of her time in the forward line.
Terrific play. Well, just a minute and a half to go to an epic result on many levels. Can Western Sydney hang on in the derby?
In the context of these two teams and the history between them, this would, for me, be up there with one of their best wins.
Sydney, have they got a last gasp equaliser? Rollerson pouring forward. Uzenla wants it on the foot. Winters comes to attend her. Good first touch to Bolger. Bolger tries to chip forward. She might try and be a little more selfish, the coach might say, and take a few strides in the shot herself. They roll forward now. Allen, does she win a corner? She goes again, Allen. And still with Tegan Allen. Now it goes back to Nicola Bolger, trying to measure or think about the pass. Camilleri squares it up. Spencer's not there, and Western Sydney breathe again. They come away. Is that it? We're inside the last minute of play, and Hannah Beard streaming downfield as though she's in an 800-metre race. And she's just come out of the blocks. On she goes into the corner, and it'll be a goal kick. But the time is going to evaporate. This is going to be an heroic victory for Norm Boardman and the Western Sydney Wanderers team. Hannah Beard has been outstanding today.
What a weekend for the club.
Oh, what a touch from Spencer. Jasmine Spencer. Have we sung the praises too soon? Tries to get it on the right foot. Free kick, surely. It's a throw-in. Oh, the
that's
referee
a free kick.
just ignoring 3 or 4. Lay down Mazaire, free kick. Susan Lau with the strike. Safely held. That'll be it. That'll be the game. Western Sydney record an epic victory. Trudy Burke can celebrate. It is the 4th upset of a round of upsets in the W League. Western Sydney 2, Sydney FC 1. It's the first win for WSW in the derby. They consign Brisbane Roar to the basement in the competition. The W League is humming for all sorts of reasons.
Look, you can see how much it means to the players. 60 to 40% possession. It's exactly what we've seen last night from the men's game. Really, possession does not mean that you win the match. And 20 balls in the penalty area to 15, and really just capitalise. And really their work rate was up there today. I really feel they deserve this match, and they've made history with a win today, Wilco.
And it gives Perth breathing room at the top of the competition. They still lead by 5 after their shock loss. The competition was going to Concertina, the Westfield player of the match. No surprise here. It is Hannah Beard.
Yeah, congratulations, Hannah. Player of the match today in what was a wonderful win, a full 90-minute effort from the Wanderers. And, well, a derby win. You can't ask for more, can you?
Yeah, definitely. It's massive for us to win today. Obviously, on the ladder, it'll boost us up. And for the girls who played so well, a lot of us went to the Wanderers match last night, the men's game, and the atmosphere is amazing. It got us so pumped for today, so we came in really excited.
And extra exciting to see that your team could hold it together for so long. Wonderful efforts from the whole side, but nice to see Caitlin Jarvie back as well.
Oh, you know, credit to Pommy today. I think she did awesome. And another man of match performance as well, yeah. You know, it really just came together today, and we proved, I'm glad it was on TV, proved that, you know, we can stick it out for the 90 minutes and we are a good team.
We've been called a work in progress from the beginning of the season, but are you pleased at how quickly this side seems to be progressing?
Yeah, obviously we're into the second half of the season now. We just want to keep pushing, you know, to try and make finals and to get into the top 4.
A trip down the highway to Canberra next week. Good luck. Thanks for chatting.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
It's a terrific performance from Hannah Beard today. This was the crucial moment, the penalty. No query about the decision here.
Oh, absolutely. And really, Winters showed her class today, and especially towards the end of that match, keeping the ball when she needed to.
Now in the second half, Sydney looking for the response it came to in wonderful fashion. Jasmine Spencer. That level it up. Plenty of time to go for Sydney FC, but errant work at the back. Caitlin Jarvie, she would have been a candidate too for the player of the match. Strides out. The dangerous cross ball fed into her own net by Tegan Allen. Despair. Joy. They were all on hand. Newcastle defeating Brisbane. Adelaide, the shock over Perth. Melbourne losing to Canberra. And Sydney down to the Wanderers. What a result. That is the ladder. Perth retaining that comfortable 5-point advantage at the top. They tackle Melbourne next week, though. Sydney, Newcastle and Canberra make up the 4. Melbourne just outside. Stephanie France.
Yeah, unbelievable finish here at Edensor Park. Wow, what a great way for the Derby to win. It's always nice to get an upset. Not so nice for Sydney FC, who probably felt that they didn't get the rub of the green today, and a lot of those decisions went against them. But confidence-boosting win for the Wanderers as they now head off to face Canberra, who of course had a win over Melbourne victory yesterday. Now don't forget, in the meantime, before all the next live sport, you can catch up on all your sporting results. You've got ABC Radio Grandstand, Grandstand TV. You can log on to the website at anytimeabc.net.au/grandstand. Join us in Canberra on Saturday. We've got round 3 of the WNBL. Canberra Capitals will be hoping to get back to winning ways when the Dandenong Rangers pay them a visit at the AIS Arena. We'll have all that action on ABC at 3 p.m. Then on Sunday, we're headed back to Lakeside Stadium in Melbourne. And the Victory welcome top of the table Perth Glory. That's at 3 p.m. also on ABC. But here, what an absolute cracking weekend in the W League, full of upsets, just what we love, an exciting league. And thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.